What if I told you that your love for theater could be more than just a passion? It could be your ticket to a six-figure income. In today's video, I'm breaking down the exact steps that I took from scraping by as an Uber driver to running a thriving theater marketing business. And stick with me because the last step, that's where most people fail, and I'm going to teach you how to avoid that.
Roll sound.
Rolling.
Sound production, take two.
Okay, first things first, not all theater marketing is the same. Within this niche, there are a bunch of other opportunities that you can get into, whether it be creating behind-the-scenes content, actor profiles, demo reels, rehearsal highlights, or even promotional videos for high schools or community theater events. Each one of these give you an opportunity to stand out and offer something unique to your clients. So start by asking yourself, what kind of content excites you about theater? It might be theater trailers like what I do. Maybe you like the workings of how theater is created, so you want to do interviews with cast and crew. The more you enjoy what you're doing, the more it will show in your work. Which leads me to a shameless plug for a book that I read called Feel Good Productivity by Ali Abdaal. In this book, he talks about how feeling good makes us more productive, and it just teaches you how to enjoy what you're doing, and if you enjoy what you're doing, it will definitely show in your work. I put a link in the description if you want to own your own copy. This book has really changed the way I operate my business, and I don't think I would be as successful as I am in theater marketing if it wasn't for this specific book. Okay, back to the video. Remember, theaters are always looking for creative ways to market their shows, and that's where you come in. So what I want you to do is choose one of those specific niches and stick to it. You want to be the go-to expert for that niche. For me, it all started with theater trailers, but your path may look a little bit different. Okay, step number 2, you have to build your portfolio. Now, this will be a step where it might feel like you're putting in a lot of work and you're not getting rewards for it, but I promise you it'll pay off. Now, what I did was I was actually in the show Newsies at the time, and I marketed the show with 43 videos for free. Now, my intention for doing this wasn't necessarily to market the show Newsies and get people to come see the show. My intention was to take all of these videos after the show and market myself out to the theaters in Colorado. And that's exactly what I did. I created 43 videos for this show. I interviewed every actor, every performer and dancer, and the director, the choreographer, the stage manager, the music director. I interviewed every single one of these people in this show and created 43 marketing videos. Now, I was releasing multiple videos per week. People started learning it not only about the show, but learning about me, who's this Ray Bailey guy that's creating all these videos. And on Performance Week, I created a trailer for the show. It was my very first trailer I had ever made, and I used every single one of those videos after the show was over to market myself to all 104 theaters that were on the Colorado Theater Guild's website to offer them my services. So building your portfolio doesn't need to be that elaborate. What I recommend you do is, number 1, find a local production that excites you. Find a local production around town that you want to be involved in and offer your services for free. My first theater trailer was not paid. All 43 of those videos were not paid, but I used those as a springboard to launch my entire business. This not only gives you experience and valuable connections within the industry, but also aligns your work with something that you're passionate about. Number 2, you should research the theaters that don't currently have a lot of video marketing. Reach out with a proposal to create something fun for them for free, just this once. Number 3, you want to emphasize the first project free rule. Make it clear that your first project is a one-time complimentary offer to showcase your skills and build trust. From there, you'll move into paid work, but we'll discuss that later in step 5. Now, the key is to view these initial projects as investments into your portfolio. You're setting the stage for paid opportunities down the line. Okay, so what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to show you specifically how to find theaters in your area that are potential clients. Now, what I did whenever I started marketing theaters was I went to coloradotheaterguild.org and I went through and found every single one of the theaters that were in Colorado, and I sent all of the work that I did for Newsies to every single one of those 104 theaters. Now, granted, I know that no matter where you're at in the United States or in the world, you probably don't have a website just like coloradotheaterguild.org. So I found another trick that I think is kind of valuable if you want to find local theaters in your area to start marketing your services or to find out what they're doing at the moment. And this will allow you to create a list of the possible theaters that you want to start marketing your services to. Okay, so what I've got here is I am on Broadway World's website, so BroadwayWorld.com. You'll see up here where it says BroadwayWorld.com/denver/regionaltheaters.cfm. I'm going to put this link in the description. The reason is this is very important because their website has so much stuff. It's kind of hard to navigate. And if you try to go to their website without typing in that exact address, it's really hard to try to find the list of Denver theaters. So if you go to broadwayworld.com/denver/regionaltheaters.cfm, you've got a list of all the local theaters in Denver. Now, what's awesome about this, these are all potential clients, by the way. So I market 15 of these. But I counted ahead of time. There is like 125 theaters in Colorado. So I market 15. That leaves opportunity if you're here in Colorado and you want to start marketing your services to all these theaters. There's plenty of opportunity. So what you got, which is neat about this, is on here you've got the list, the name of the theater, their address. It doesn't have an email on here, but you can easily find out how to contact them either via phone or via email by going on here. So there's 40 Arts West Wonders Hub Stage. That's in Lakewood. I am not aware of that theater, but they might have a show that's coming up that you want to be involved in. So I would go knock on their door and find out what their season is, or research their website and see if they have a show that interests you that you can offer your services to. They are not one of my theaters, so you are free to have at it, but you're also free to have at any of my theaters if you want to try to market yourself there too. It's no problem. But what's cool about this is right here, so you got the theater, you've got the address, then you've got a section called Next Up. Now, next up, let's just go, Arvada Center has their own marketing department, so you don't want to even reach out to them unless there's a job opening. Let's go here. So let's go to, okay, DCPA has a show coming up, but you know it's DCPA, they got their own marketing department. Let's go to page 2 and see if there's any next up. Okay, here we go. The Lincoln Center Magnolia Theater. So Lincoln Center Magnolia Theater in Fort Collins has a show coming up, the 39 Steps. At the time of this recording, it is December 30th, 2024, and this show opens in 12 days, 13 days. They open January 11th. So what I would recommend you do is go knock on their door or walk in. I don't think you need to knock on theater doors. Walk into their theater and see that they are doing 39 Steps. They open in just over a week. So if they need marketing, I would highly recommend you go in and offer your services for this show. The show is not opened yet. There's another show that opens at the Loft Theater, University Theater Building in Boulder. John Proctor is the Villain by Kimberly Bellflower. Her show opens on February 21st. So plenty of time for you to go introduce yourself and start marketing yourself to do a video for them for free. Obviously, a lot of these theaters do have shows coming up. They're just not listed on Broadway World's website. But this is where I would start if you wanted to start reaching out to local theaters and finding out what's in your area. Now, if you're wondering how to find a theater in your specific area, you'd click right here where it says Explore Regions. And then you've got, so there's Broadway in New York City, United States, West End, London, International. So I'm just going to go to United States. Then you've got it Eastern, Central, and Western United States. I would just pick one of those. Let's go Eastern. And now this is where the website comes into play. Let's click. All right, so I wouldn't click on these. These are just for your reference. They have Orlando on here. So what we're going to do is we go to here to find out if they have a page. They do have a page, but finding a list of those theaters on that page is really difficult, at least for me, and I've been researching this for a while. So what you want to do is just come up here to the broadwayworld.com/denver/regionaltheaters.cfm. Get rid of that. And then all we're going to do is we're going to change Denver to Orlando. Okay, we just changed it to Orlando, and right there, Orlando Theaters. So here, we've got all the list of Orlando theaters and all their upcoming shows that they've got, their address. They've got 3 pages too. So there's over 100 theaters in Orlando alone, which is opportunity for you to start marketing yourself and really start advertising your services. Now, like I said before, I market 15 theaters in Denver, but there's 125 theaters in the Denver theater area. So plenty of opportunity for you to start marketing your services. Okay, step number 3, I know is kind of a weird place to put it, but you need to learn the basics of filming and editing. Now, I just assume that everyone knows how to do that anyway, because everyone's on Instagram and TikTok and YouTube, and everyone's got a cell phone, and there's free programs like CapCut and iMovie that you can edit on. So I'm just taking into account that maybe you have the basics of how to edit. But if you don't, that honestly should be step 0, is learn that before you start offering your services. If you don't, though, there's plenty of tutorials out there on YouTube. I'm going to be creating a bunch of tutorials on my site as well for you to start learning my specific technique and how I market shows. But the key here is you really don't need any kind of fancy equipment. If you have a iPhone and a gimbal, like what I have, granted this is a purchase that you will need to acquire if you want to start marketing theaters. I would highly recommend you do have a gimbal. Now this is a DJI Osmo. I'll put a link in the description if you want to buy this one. This is actually what I film a lot of my shows on if I'm filming on stage with the gimbal. Now, if you don't have an iPhone and a gimbal and you feel like shooting on a DSLR or a mirrorless camera, then I would highly recommend you get a gimbal like this. This is another DJI. I'm very big into DJI products. It's like the original drones. Whenever drones started getting made, they were usually all by DJI. They're super smooth. You can see, and even with an iPhone, it's pretty incredible what you can do with this. Plus, you can take it out on vacations. But if you wanted to use a mirrorless or a DSLR camera, I'd highly recommend this one. This is my Ronin, DJI Ronin SC. It's for a lighter camera. I've got Sony A7R II cameras for most of my trailers, but this one holds that with the wide-angle lens pretty well. If you have a heavier camera, I would recommend not getting the SC version, just the Ronin. I'll put links to both of these gimbals in the description if you want to purchase those. It's just a nice little tip and trick and a nice tool to have, especially if you're filming on stage with the actors. So if you're just starting out, here's what I would recommend. Number 1, if you're filming on stage, use a gimbal. You can either use an iPhone, a mirrorless, or a DSLR camera. The cool thing about these types of trailers, though, is you get really up close into the action of the show and you get some really cinematic feeling shots. Number 2, if you are filming with a mirrorless or DSLR camera and you are shooting from the house, this is what I'd recommend you do. Now, some theaters do not allow you to be on stage with the actors. They're just uncomfortable with someone else being up there. It messes up their blocking. In that case, you do want to film from the house. And in that case, you probably do need to invest in some type of mirrorless or DSLR camera. So you could be from the audience and get a lens that you are able to zoom in and capture the action on stage. Now, if you are filming from the house, meaning the audience side, and you're not on stage with the actors, I would highly recommend you get 2 cameras. Now, what I do with that is just so you don't miss anything. I set up my cameras side by side. I create a wide-angle camera shot that captures the entire stage. This is good for dance shots where you need to capture an entire cast on stage. And then side by side, right next to that, I use another camera that has the close-up or medium shots. And I usually try to keep these anywhere between the waist to the head or feet to the head, allowing 3 to 5 people in that shot at the same time. So what this does is it allows you to film the entire show and cut seamlessly between the close-up shot and the wide-angle shot. For example, if an actor walks in on stage left and someone is walking out on stage right that just finished talking, I can cut to the wide angle while I zoom my close-up camera over to the person that's talking now, and then I cut back to the close-up camera. It not only makes it a clean cut, but it also gives you a lot more to work with whenever you're filming and editing a trailer. Now, sometimes if the theater has a bigger budget, they'll ask you to film the trailer on stage with a gimbal and then come back during a performance to film the entire show out in the house, meaning from the audience side, with your 2-camera setup. Okay, step number 4 is network with leaders in the theater industry in your area. You've heard it a million times in showbiz, and whether that's in Hollywood or on Broadway or in your local theater community, connections matter. Now, here's what I'd recommend to start building your network. Number 1, attend local shows, meet directors, show them your work, introduce yourself, let your work become associated with your name. Now, when I got started in theater marketing, I intentionally called my production company Ray Bailey TV. Now, I did that for the reason that when people start seeing my videos and they start seeing the trailers and they know that it's made by Ray Bailey TV, which I put at the tail end of every single one of my trailers, all 500 plus of my trailers, I put in Ray Bailey TV at the very end. Now, I did this specifically for the reason that when people meet me in person and I stick out my hand and they're like, "Oh, who are you?" And I say, "Oh, I'm Ray Bailey," they immediately associate me with the theater trailer guy. And that's literally how I got my name, the theater trailer guy. was I would meet someone and I'd stick out my hand and say, "Hi, I'm Ray Bailey." And they're like, "Oh, you're the theater trailer guy." So I highly recommend the importance of connecting your name to your passion and your service that you're offering is extremely important. So whatever your name is, put TV after it, start marketing theaters, and you'll be golden, I promise. Number 2, join theater communities. Find local Facebook groups, Instagram groups, online forums, meetups where theater professionals and enthusiasts gather. These spaces can be great for networking and finding collaboration opportunities. Number 3, volunteer at theaters. Like I said before, if you get your foot in the door, it doesn't necessarily have to be for marketing your services as a video marketer. You can offer to help with an event or a production, even if it's unrelated to marketing. This can be a way to get your foot in the door and build relationships with key players. And I tell you right now, every single theater out there needs ushers, so that's a great opportunity for you to not only get your foot in the door, but also to see some free theater. So it's a win-win. Number 4, bring your work with you. Always have a business card or a link to your portfolio ready to share. If you've already created a trailer or a promotional video for another show, show it to them on your phone for an instant impact. And number 5, the most important, is to follow up. After you meet someone, send them a quick email or a message thanking them for their time and remind them of your services. Building a relationship takes time and consistency, so keep the communication going. Networking is not hard selling. It's about making genuine connections with people that can lead to future opportunities. Okay, step number 5, which is extremely important, is pricing your services for growth. Now, I was lucky enough to hire a business coach when I first started marketing theaters. His name is Stephen Conkey from denverbusinesscoach.com, and he taught me some valuable lessons. His link is also in the description if you want to hire him to help you build your business. He is incredible. Now, one of the best lessons that Stephen taught me is you have to value your services and you have to value your time. And you have to price it accordingly. Now, all rates are going to be different depending on what part of the country or the world you live in, but what I'd recommend you do is, number 1, research your local rates. Look into what similar services cost in your area. Check out other freelance videographers or marketing specialists and make sure that you're charging competitively. Number 2, you want to set a starting rate. When you're just getting started, you may need to price modestly to attract clients. However, do not sell yourself short. Your time and talent are valuable, and there's always another theater willing to pay for your quality work. You can adjust your price as you gain experience. As your portfolio grows and the demand for your services increase, raise your rates. Communicate this to the clients by showing them added value you're bringing to their productions. Now, this one's extremely important because I started charging extremely low amounts when I first got into the business just to gain clients. And I said yes to every single client that offered to pay me for my services. I was just accepting every single job offer because I was desperate. I was driving for Uber ahead of time and I was making no money and beyond broke. And when people started offering me money, I got so excited about that. But what I wasn't taking into account is I was really undercharging for my services because I was brand spanking new. One of the things that Stephen taught me is you have to keep raising your rates until someone says no. Now, this was completely eye-opening because I really undervalued my own worth and what my services were worth to my clients. And I felt bad almost charging a higher amount because I was a newbie. No one knew who I was and I was just getting started. Why would I charge an exuberant amount? Now, this really changed the way I started doing my business because at the very beginning, I was charging an extremely low amount, and now I'm charging almost 4 times the amount that I started with whenever I started doing my business. So you need to value your services, and you need to value your skills, and you need to value your time. Okay, number 4, you want to limit free projects. You won't always need to give away your first project for free, but once people know your work, you can offer free services selectively. Now, personally, what I like to do is I like to find a startup theater company or a theater company that I've never worked with before, but I've heard of, and I offer 1 free project per year to that theater. Now, my intention of doing this is not to gain them as a client, it's just to give back to the theater community for taking care of me for so many years. Now, if they hire me, that's a bonus, but that's not my intention whenever I offer a free video now. Number 5, be confident in your worth. Don't let clients take advantage of you. If a theater isn't willing to pay you what you're worth, move on. There are other theaters who will. You need to remember that pricing is part of your brand. When you set fair and competitive pricing, it shows your clients that your work is professional and worth investing in. Okay, number 6, and our final step is you need to avoid the common pitfall that stops most people in their tracks: burnout. Now, the good thing about theater, it's really kind of hard to get burnt out anyway because every show is different. Even when you are editing a trailer for the exact same show, for example, I have now filmed Newsies 3 times for 3 different theaters. But what kind of makes it fun is that you are looking at each individual performance as a completely separate show, and that inspires you to edit the trailer differently. Plus, it's just kind of fun to edit a trailer for the same show in a completely different way. It just kind of keeps your creative juices flowing, and that can only help you in future projects. Okay, so here are some tips to avoid burnout. Number 1, schedule breaks. Make time between projects to rest and recharge. Even a short break can help you come back with renewed energy and creativity. Number 2, set boundaries. Limit how many clients or projects you take on at one time. Saying no to a project might feel hard, but it's better than sacrificing quality or your mental health. Number 3, stay organized. Use project management tools or a simple calendar to track deadlines and tasks. Staying on top of your workload can prevent feeling overwhelmed. Number 4, focus on passion projects. If a project feels uninspiring, balance it with something you're excited about. That excitement will carry over into your other work. Number 5, celebrate your successes. Take time to reflect on what you've accomplished. Acknowledging your achievements can keep you motivated and remind you why you started in the first place. Burnout is a common pitfall in any creative field, but with the right mindset and habits, you can stay inspired and avoid it altogether. You don't need a massive budget or a big name to start, you just need creativity, drive, and a willingness to learn. If this video inspired you, please hit that like and subscribe button and let me know in the comments which step you're starting today. In a future video, I'm going to show you how AI helped me produce this trailer right here, so check it out and get ready to take some notes.